Hi, it's Monday the 24th of May 2021 and it's time for DaviePHD's Mythbusters, episode 33. Many things are said about Scotland, independence, the Union, the European Union, etc. In these videos I bust the myths that many people believe and are commonly peddled by those opposed to our independence. This week we explore the possibility that Britain doesn't have a post-Brexit trade policy, but rather a post-Brexit lack of trade policy. We all want to live in a world where nations can trade freely, sustainably, ethically and profitably with each other. When you see the smiling face of International Trade Secretary Liz Truss sign yet another post-Brexit trade deal, you could be forgiven for thinking that in trade terms at least, Brexit is going well for the UK. The UK has signed 37 trade agreements so far since leaving the European Union and the transition period ending. One of those trade agreements is with the European Union, so it covers the remaining 27 countries. The remaining 36 agreements cover 69 countries and more are under negotiation. There are mutual recognition agreements signed with Australia and the USA, but these are on standards and markings rather than trade. There are 9 trade agreements currently under negotiation and 4 at a pre-negotiation stage. But when you look at the minutiae of these deals, things aren't going quite as well as they seem. The Vote Leave side made a great big thing about how global Britain would go out into the world and strike trade deals on our own terms. But what they neglected to investigate well enough is whether trade deals made on our own terms could actually be better than the deals the EU got on our behalf. And if they had investigated that properly, the simple answer would have been no, they couldn't. When you represent the EU at trade talks, you represent 28% of global imports, 26% of global exports, and 18% of world GDP. So you've got some clout. When you represent the UK at trade talks, you represent 3.4% of global imports, 3.5% of global exports, and 3.3% of world GDP. So you obviously have less clout than the European Union. The EU is the largest trading bloc in the world, and in every trade deal they do, there is a proviso that no other trading partner can be offered a more favourable deal unless it is also offered to the European Union. Now that may seem like a mafioso gangster move, but if the UK was the largest trade bloc in the world, they'd have done it too, and we'd be applauding them for it. So poor Liz Truss has had to go out into the world and make trade deals, something the UK government hasn't had to do for a long time, has no experience of, against the circumstances detailed before. Let's have a wee look at how it's going, and a sample of just 2 of those deals. The UK and Japan is a signed deal. Negotiations began in June 2020. An agreement in principle was in place in September 2020 and it was signed by both countries' trade ministers in October 2020. That all sounds very positive, apart from 2 small things. First, the agreement is essentially the same as the EU-Japan trade deal, which was concluded in February 2019. This is in fact true of most UK post-Brexit trade deals. Second, it almost fell apart because of cheese. Liz Truss dug her heels in about UK dairy products and almost scuppered the whole deal on the back of it. Now it sounds like she was fighting her corner really hard, and she did get there in the end. The UK can sell cheese in Japan. But look at what happens when you try to buy some UK produced cheese in Japan under Liz Truss's shiny new trade deal. When you consider that 70% of Japanese people are lactose intolerant and the obvious disparity in terms between Australian and UK trade deals with Japan, it may have been a battle not really worth her time fighting, because I can't see much UK cheese being sold at that price. Can you? UK and Australia, currently under negotiation, The United Kingdom and Australia started negotiations for a free trade deal on the 17th of June 2020, and it's still under negotiation. But this week, the UK offered tariff-free access to the UK marketplace. International Trade Secretary Liz Truss made the offer to her Australian counterpart on Friday. If accepted, it will also lead to quotas, i.e. limits on tax-free trade between the two countries being phased out. Now, you may remember this Vote Leave poster from the Brexit campaign, fronted by Farming Minister George Eustice MP. It all sounded so promising. However, this is the reality. Trade in meat between the two countries is small, with just 0.15% of all Australian beef exports going to the UK and 14% of sheep meat imports into the UK coming from Australia. The National Farmers Union has warned that freeing up the UK-Australian trade in meat will lead to hundreds of British cow and sheep farmers going out of business. NFU President Minette Butters said removing tariffs on these products would have a massive impact on British farms, which would be unable to cope and compete in terms of scale with Australia's vast cattle and sheep stations. She added, "We continue to maintain that tariff-free deal with Australia will jeopardise our own farming industry and will cause the demise of many, many beef and sheep farms throughout the UK. This is true whether tariffs are dropped immediately or in 15 years' time." Scottish and Welsh governments have both urged Mr Johnson to ensure UK farmers are not left exposed, and Northern Ireland's Agricultural Minister Edmund Poots said he was strongly opposed to ending tariffs and quotas. This deal is predicted to raise UK exports to Australia by 7.3%, but raise Australian exports to the UK by 83.2%. So, yeah, Liz Truss, you sure hustled the hell out of them Australians. If George Eustice MP had to make that poster for Vote Leave today, it would look more like this. We currently have trade deals with 96 countries, most of which are exactly the same as we had whilst we were in the European Union. Not one of them is better than our EU deal, and as the Japanese cheese issue shows, some of them are worse. Currently, we're trading with more than half of the world on demonstrably worse World Trade Organization rules and tariffs. 2 countries of which, the USA and China, are in our top 10 trade partners. Now, there's nothing stopping a nation making trade deals on their own terms with every other nation in the world. But unless those terms are actually better terms, then what is the point of it all? But getting back to our farmers, given that their sector is one of the worst affected due to Brexit, the last thing UK meat farmers need is tariff and quota-free access being given to a competitor nation with massive sheep and cattle stations. I'm also pretty sure they never would have voted for it. So just like the fishermen before them, our UK farmers have been exploited for their votes and then thrown to the wolves to be devoured by their international competitors, by this uncaring Tory UK government. It's also worthy of note that all 3 UK-devolved administrations, 2 of which are pro-Brexit and pro-Union administrations, oppose this deal. But for us Scots, this just reinforces what we've known for far too long, that these deals are English trade deals to benefit England, not the UK. Now, our friend Dross MP MSP has been strangely silent on this issue, but I think I speak for us all when I quote one of his previous utterances on Brexit. It would be easier to get someone to drink a pint of cold sick than try to sell this as a success. Folks, thanks for watching. Please feel free to share this video with anyone you like, especially undecided voters. DaviePHD.